Hey everyone, welcome back to Bear Economics. Today we're tackling one of the most wasteful institutions in the US, the United States Postal Service. It's been a long time coming. You might already know it's a big government agency, but what you may not know is how wasteful and inefficient it is, and why it should be dismantled or at the very least privatized immediately. Let's start with the numbers. The Postal Service is bleeding money. Since 2007, the Postal Service has reported over $100 billion in losses. Think about that. They've been in the red for 13 straight years. How is that even possible? How can an agency that delivers mail make losses year over year? Could it have something to do with its major affiliation and backing by the US government? Oh yeah, probably. It's because the Postal Service is bloated with inefficiencies, bad financial management, and unnecessary costs. Here's a fun fact. The USPS is legally required to pre-fund their retiree health benefits for 75 years in advance. That's a staggering burden that no private company ever face. The result? $80 billion in the hole with no clear path to solvency. But the problems don't end there. The Postal Service is heavily unionized, and these unions have just been allowed to make sure that the postal workers have cushy contracts that cost the taxpayers dearly. Now, employees get benefits, pay and retirement packages that far exceed what workers in the private sector receive for similar jobs. The rules are so strict that some workers can't even be fired, even if they aren't performing their jobs well. Maybe that's why every time you go to the post office, behind the counter there's some angry, disgruntled, rude, non-helpful, non-government employee serving you. Post office is a mess. And this creates a system where instead of efficiency and innovation, you get a stagnant and costly workforce. You get a bunch of Newmans as employees. And we all know how the Postal Service was portrayed on Seinfeld. That's because it's pretty accurate, and that's the overall sentiment of the entire US. Here's the thing. In a competitive market, companies that fail to innovate or provide good customer service or value go out of business. That's the way free market should work. If you're doing a crappy job at what you do, you either cut costs and improve to make it competitive, or you go out of business. That's how all of us have to operate in the free market. Why is the post office special? Oh, that's right, because it's a monopoly. It's another case of the government choosing winners and losers. The Postal Service doesn't have to worry about these things. They're the only ones that can deliver first-class mail. And because of this monopoly, they don't face the same pressures as private companies do to improve and become more efficient. Private companies like UPS and FedEx, they operate in the same space. But because they have to compete, they innovate. They've optimized operations, improved their customer service, and reduced their costs. The Postal Service? Not so much. Their delivery times are unreliable, their customer service is shit, and their prices keep increasing, even though they're already losing money. So what's the solution? We need to privatize the Postal Service. Break it up and let private companies come in, take over the services that are still needed, which is very far and few between, in my opinion, like delivering mail and packages. How tough is that? I wonder if there's another private company that does that really well in a super timely, efficient manner. Gee, Amazon, excuse me. I don't know. The market can handle it way better than the government ever can. By privatizing, we can open up the doors for competition and innovation. Private companies would compete to offer better services at lower costs. We could also dismantle the bloated bureaucracy and stop requiring taxpayers to foot the bill for decades of unsustainable debt. But Luke, we don't directly pay for the Postal Service. Let's see. Oh yeah, you're right. We don't have a tax that comes out of our thing saying earmarked for post office. Instead, what they do is when they fail to make a profit every single year, what they do is they go take a loan from the Treasury, and then how's that money come from? Oh yeah, that's right. They go like this: click, print the money, and then the post office, because they're so shitty, they never pay it back. And guess what? That tax comes out via inflation. Because what they're doing is they're stealing the value from your dollar, and then they're taxing you that way. So either way, it's a tax. Direct, indirect, I don't give a damn what you say. We are paying 100% for the crap service that you get from the post office, which in my opinion is completely unnecessary. Who the hell needs the post office? No one. And it doesn't just stop with delivery. Privatization would also allow for businesses to take over the post offices themselves, turning them into more profitable ventures because the government owns a lot of these buildings. So here's the bottom line. The Postal Service has failed, period. It's inefficient, it's unprofitable, and it's a massive waste of taxpayer money. And what do we get in return for all of those things? Crap service at unreliable times. Has anyone ever gone to a post office and gone in in any sort of mood and then come out anything other than lower than what you came in? Because you can tell, because if you have employees that are massively overcompensated in their benefits package and all of these other great benefits that they have, and they do a shit job and they don't get fired and they're just put somewhere else, and what do you think, what kind of culture do you think that creates? Oh yeah, a shit culture. Every year, the US government keeps bailing out the Postal Service, using your hard-earned dollars to prop up a failing system. Does that sound fair? No. If it's privatized, you can use it based more on consumption, like a consumption tax, which I think is way more beneficial and fair, because most people don't even use the post office for anything. People my age barely ever go to the post office. We live we live our lives like pretty much as if the post office doesn't exist. We only use it because sometimes we have to use it for certain parameters. But private companies can do everything else, and we're already there. So we're paying for what services we want to use, and we're still being taxed for the shit service that we don't use or that we're forced to use on minimal occasions, like once in a blue moon. Basically, it goes along with the moon cycle is how often I use the post office. So if we privatize it, then we're only going to pay for the consumption that we use, which seems more of a fair thing, and it's going to be done better, faster, more efficiently, all of the things. It's going to be great. And what do we get in return? Overpriced, slow mail services with poor customer service. Not to mention, you're paying for an outdated business model that doesn't work in today's fast-paced world. The Postal Service is a relic of the past, and it's time we let it go. Just pretend like the Postal Service is Jack hanging on to the door, and she's sitting there. Just let him go. It's begging to be let go, going off into the dark, sink down to the bottom of the Atlantic. Bye, Postal Service. We don't need you. Not enough room for you on this iceberg or whatever the hell that was. Piece of the Titanic door. I think it was a door. Anyway, you get the point. Dismantling the Postal Service and privatizing its services would save taxpayers billions and improve services for everyone. So it's time for the market to take over and bring in the competition. Bring the competition in. Let's go. And let the free market fix the issues that the government has been failing to address for decades. So let's make it happen. The USPS is wasteful, outdated, and needs to be privatized now. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time where we'll dive into more economic truths that will change the way you think about money.